I'm going to ask you a couple questions today, and then we've got a little bit sort of like a interactive game of charades where you'll just be signing out some movies.
Amazing. Okay, great.
And we'll ask the audience to
All right.
do it. But in 3 words, why should people see this movie?
No sound. I'll do it in 2. The sound, the idea of sound is such a huge part of this movie, and I think it's one of my favorite compliments that I can't say without sounding. I'd sound like just an ass if I said it, but it's the audiences have been saying it's an experience, not just a film that you got to see it in the theater. So that would be why I tell people to go.
Yeah. How do you feel?
That was like 900 words. Why did I do that?
I'll take it. How do you feel that the removal of sound actually complements the horror genre?
Well, it's one of those things where I think I realized in making this movie, and certainly the audience response has been awesome to know that they feel the same, is removing sound from scenes is actually so extremely tense, and it puts you in the scenario that the family's living in where you realize you can't make sound either. And so, bizarrely, one of my favorite compliments, or the best critique of the movie is we couldn't eat our popcorn. We left our popcorn on our seat because if we ate it, they would be too loud throughout the movie.
Yeah, I did the hand-covered scream.
Oh, you did?
Point.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Yeah, and there's a lot of squirmy parts as well. What was the importance of having a deaf actor on set?
Well, that was non-negotiable for me. It was the highest priority for me. The character is deaf, so obviously I would get a much more textured, honest performance because she's deaf in real life, Millie. But what I didn't realize was how lucky I would be to have someone who is so unbelievably special. Because selfishly, I also wanted a deaf actress mostly because it would help guide me through this experience. I wanted to know what it was like to be the only deaf person in a hearing family. I wanted to know what it was like. Did you ever feel angry about being deaf, empowered by being deaf? And she was so open and honest and generous with her opening up about her own life. I also loved watching her with her family. A lot of the sign language in the movie would change based on things that I saw her signing to her parents.
Awesome. If there was one noise that you could remove from the world, what would it be?
Screaming, I think. I think I'm one of those people that when you hear a scream, like a guttural scream, it never means anything good, so it's always a terrifying thing.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of foxes near where you live?
No, but where I grew up, we had coyotes. It was the worst.
Yeah, when they make
that
love.
Weird howl.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
yeah.
Is it making love or
That's
is it
what
attacking a puppy?
they're doing out there.
Really?
Yeah, they're having a great time, but, I've called the police once or twice in
Really?
my area when I've heard that, yeah. I thought I was doing a good thing. Then they had to explain, sent RSPCA, and it was a whole educational learning experience for me. What sound would you keep?
Laughter. Certainly children's laughter. I mean, that sounds cheesy, but it's true. I mean, it's cliche, but every parent, when they hear their kids laugh, it's just the best.
Awesome. What do the monsters represent to you?
It's really interesting. To me, when I was rewriting the script, it was the monsters represented to me that moment that every parent faces at some point that you're very scared of, which is letting your kids out into the world. And so to me, it represented the good and the bad in the world that at some point when they're out on their own, if you could have just kept them, you would have been able to protect them forever. And so these monsters, to me, represented anything negative that can happen to your kids.
Okay, awesome. And this is a project that is very personal to you. You've had, involvement in every step of the creation of it. What were your first thoughts seeing it as a complete piece?
Well, it's funny. I remember talking to Rob Marshall, who directed Mary Poppins with Emily, and he said that Nora Ephron had once told him, wouldn't it be great if we could see our own movies as directors? Because you'll never actually get to watch your movie the way other people watch the movie. And I thought that was a really interesting comment until I went down to South by Southwest. Literally, if I'm honest, 18 to 24 hours before South by Southwest, I was still cutting my movie. I was still sound editing my movie. So I went into that screening as terrified as I've ever been in my career. And so getting to your question, it was one of the greatest experiences in my career to watch that movie with that audience. What that audience didn't realize they gave me was the gift of actually, like Nora said, I actually did get to see my movie. I actually got to feel like I was an audience member of a movie that I had spent so long creating. I genuinely was scared. I was genuinely holding my breath at moments, and it was, when they all jumped up at the end and applauded, it was one of the greatest moments of my career.
Awesome. Should we play a game?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so I'm just going to give you them, and then you've got to do the typical charades of
okay.
Acting them out.
All right, do you do the 1 word, 2 word, all that?
Yeah.
Okay. Shape of Water, right?
Sweet. Yeah, cool.
And then when you lose, you just give it away at the end. If your team doesn't get it, you just go, Shape of Water, guys, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Snaky move. People might get confused.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. All right.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
That's everything.
That was fun.
One little thing I just wanted to share with you because we've still got a tiny bit of time. My friend wrote a great review about it. He believed it.
Is that your friend?
No, that's me.
That's amazing.
God, this keeps coming out. And why do I leave it in every time? Sorry, I didn't even plan to do that one that time. He believed that the monsters kind of represented censorship.
Oh, interesting.
Because he felt like, you're getting to a point in time where you can't speak out as much anymore.
That's
because
amazing.
Everyone comes around to...
I think it's awesome. Somebody brought that up in another interview I was talking about, and I think there's no better compliment to any movie that it starts a conversation. So I love that people have their own ideas about this. That's great.